You're very welcome back to the Daily Rundown with me, Fiona Fox. I have Drew Tosh and Stephen Armstrong helping me with the stories this evening. Now, Jeremy Hunt and the British Medical Association have reached a deal, and they're both calling it a victory for junior doctors. Saturdays and Sundays will count as part of a junior doctor's normal working week, which is a big U-turn. They're also claiming that a new payment system for overnight working is a big improvement for doctors, as it will be more consistent. More new posts will ensure that hospitals do not force junior doctors to work excessive hours. Medics returning after some time will receive targeted accelerated learning, including a mentor to help them get back up to speed. But the new deal does not offer anything concrete to help junior doctors with childcare for the extra weekend shifts many will be working. So we're still waiting to find out if junior doctors even will endorse the deal. Now, quite a lot of information in there. It's obviously a story that's come up on the show lots and lots over the last few weeks. What do you feel about this one, you two? Has somebody compromised? I mean, it feels like somebody should have had to, given how opposite ends of the spectrum they were coming up to this. Is this a win for junior doctors?
I hope so. It seems like a happy compromise, and that they were both able to say we won. It's really childish, but you know, Jeremy.
Neener.
Yeah, you know, but if that's what it takes to get the doctors back to work to a level that's acceptable, and they're not working like a 300-hour day for, you know, silly money.
Yeah.
Great. And if it means that daft Jeremy person can save face and say he's won as well, then fine. As long as it's resolved, you know, who cares? But yeah, it should never have happened in the first place. You know, the cutbacks are always being hit in areas that should be supported and encouraged and given more funding, not less.
Yeah.
But you know, not to sort of sound like a broken record, that's just the way that the things are at the moment.
Well, it's like, I mean, you don't sound like a broken record, because it's kind of like the same points, isn't it? You know, everybody was supportive. I don't know, one person, or even people who were waiting for operations that were cancelled because of the strikes, were happily out supporting the junior doctors. Everybody was, it seems, against the Jeremy Hunt's terms. So I don't know. How do you feel about this, Stephen? These events.
I think that as Drew was saying, and I think as yourself was saying, I think it's important that both parties have got to go back to their respective camps with something to kind of prove and kind of go, look, this is what we've got. This is we've done all this. We've gone through this, and this is what we've got. And Jeremy Hunt and his assorted ragged bag of rogues and vagabonds. They've got what they think is a victory. They're saying that finally the NHS is 24 hours, 7 days a week, which it has been I'm knocking on 40, and I don't remember ever having a hospital that's been shut. You can always access the health service. I think that it's important. I think that there are certain areas where I'd quite like to know that the person looking after me is well rested and well educated and mentally and physically, spiritually well. They are doctors, train drivers, policemen, anywhere where I'm putting my life in their hands. I like to think that they are, you know, that they are rested and that they're not pushed to the limits. You know, I don't understand how the insides of my body works. I want the person who does to have had a rest and a cup of tea and a breakfast and a pat on the back, and to be told that they're doing some good work.
As long as it's appropriate, though, because there's something on Facebook today, and I can't remember all the ins and outs, but it was an image, and it was a queue of 5 people, and they were all waiting in the line for accident and emergency, and it was just highlighting how much the public waste these doctors' time by not going to the chemist, or not going to their own doctor, or not just doing all the things that they don't need to clog up A&E with and cause all these issues with junior doctors. And the last person in the line was actually a wreath, and it said, could have been helped here, but was waiting at the back of a queue because of all these people who'd gone because had a bit of sunburn, or my rash has come back. You know, things. Chemists are great fonts of knowledge for all these things.
They are actually.
Chemists are brilliant. They're so smart about what they're doing.
It's quite. You know, I had a friend just because we talk about the NHS, and for me, you know, I've lived here for quite a few years now, but whenever I go back to Ireland, you know, half an hour's flight, and their healthcare situation could not be more planets apart from here. Whenever anyone comes over here, they can't understand the level of care we have, 24/7, like you said. and you know, it's all covered. You can't go to a GP in Ireland for less than €60, and that's if you know you want, you know, your birth control renewed. It's not, we're not talking about serious things, but there is that flip side, obviously, of it being so open and so accessible that, you know, people will just, you know, I may as well just bob along to the hospital because it's free. I'll be seeing quick. You know, I know the care is really good. There definitely is that side. I agree with you there, especially when you have that direct comparison. There's a level of taking it for granted. But I mean, with this, I don't know, do you feel kind of confident? Do you feel kind of I don't know, trusting, given the kind of turnarounds and backtracking that, you know, Jeremy Hunt has done over the last few months? Guys, it's a year now, actually, almost. It's the guts of a year. Would you trust that this will all be sort of signed away and everybody will be happy?
Can't say trust in totally the same sentence.
I can honestly, no, I can say I don't trust him any less than I trusted him previously in his previous job.
Is that my same one?
But yeah, I mean, you know, you can't really go down from no trust. I just think that
to minus trust.
Yeah, I think that it's just I desperately want, and then again, it's slightly maybe from the particular topic on more grander scale. I just wish we had we get back to the days where politicians were people who cared about making people happy.
When was that?
Well, to be honest with you, and I'm not a supporter of any of the major parties, but I like the honesty of one of the particular leaders who just seems to be a more honest gentleman who seems to be willing to give us, and that's all I think we should have. And I think that in this situation, getting back to the doctors, is it just seems like if we'd actually just got down to some honesty, and you know, again, we'll look outwards, but if we compare this country to, say, Canada, most of the people in the Canadian government have experience in the job that they do. So the education secretary has has a background in education. It might be better to get a health secretary that has a background in the health industry. Maybe a former doctor. You know, I mean, it just seems to me joined up thinking. Jeremy Hunt doesn't seem to be able to connect with that situation. Maybe if somebody could connect, they would have a bit more empathy, a bit more understanding. So
we'll see how it unfolds anyway, but you're not entirely sold yet that it's done and dusted.
Probably not.
Thanks very much for that, guys. Let's go to our next story. Plain packaging of cigarettes will be mandatory from Friday after the High Court in London rejected an attempt by the tobacco industry to prevent the change. Plain packs will not be in shops immediately, but within a few months it is expected that the major brands will no longer be distinguishable from each other. The packs will be the same shape, size and colour, and 65% of the front and back surfaces will be covered by picture health warnings with written warnings on the sides. Now, this means that you won't find the cheap 10-pack of cigarettes on the shelf either. It's also been announced that menthol flavoured cigarettes will be phased out over the next 4 years, ready for a complete ban in 2020. Does this seem... this seems extreme, not in a bad way. Just considering, I think it seems like, you know, the government, all governments have kind of been very, very slow to sort of put any kind of a control on the tobacco industry. What do you think? Are you guys smokers? I thought you would meet on telly.
Never have been.
No, you never have been. I'm not either.
I used to be. I used to be a fan of a particular brand advertised by a smoking man that tasted like salty biscuits and had fiberglass in the filters. But
is this going to put people off?
No, I just think that I think that nowadays. It's not cigarettes. Cigarettes were cool when I was a kid, and I don't think cigarettes are cool nowadays. I think technology's cool, and I think
living and.
I do. I think that nowadays the idea of smoking, lots of people know that it's bad for your health. You know, it's the coughs, the associated kind of lack of smell, lack of sense of smell, all these kind of things. I don't think that this is going to change. I think currently, you know, you have to kind of do the whole guessing game of like ordering your cigarettes, and then if they're not there, because they're behind the sort of slidey doors now, so you can't see them. So you've got to kind of guess if they've got the cigarettes, and they kind of like and then they pull it back and go, no, we don't have them, and then they put it back, and you have to guess again to see if they've got them. It's just going to be the same. People have got their brands. I think nowadays people are more when we look at the legislation that's coming in to cover e-cigarettes and vapors and those kinds of things. I think that's more the cool thing now, is the vaporizers and the because it's all metal and shiny, you can get big ones and you can compete, whereas you can't get bigger and bigger cigarettes where you can get these big huge things that look like a lightsaber.
So what are we, is this like, so is this like getting a fancy car or something? Is it, you're saying that the size of your vape,
I just think that cigarettes now are not the edge of cool that it was. It's not James Dean. No longer is it the strange mysterious man or the alluring stranger at the end of the bar with the cigarette holder. It's this
sexy woman
wheezy,
with a red dress.
Exactly, yeah. It's the person with the thing that you could, that could be considered a kosh as well as a vaporizer.
But there's always been kind of horrific ads that, they didn't really hammer them, I wouldn't say, that kind of popped up now and again, and then they'd kind of revisit them, or they'd kind of imagine them, and then obviously the big thing was the ads, the pictures on the packs, and there's some kind of horrific images on that as well. So now what we have is no brand, no name, and just the horrific picture, just the horrific words. So we're actually going to go for a quick break, but when we come back, I want to come back to Drew on this one. So don't go anywhere. Lots more news, lots of music coming up as well. See you soon.